Welcome to the podcast, People More Interesting Than Me. I'm your host, Michael Strumsky, where every week I host a new guest with unique professions, personal adversity, or even maybe a strong opinion or two. And if you haven't hit the 5 stars review on Apple Podcasts, please hit it now before you forget. Running a podcast is a surprising amount of work, and more reviews converts into a wider range of future guests. I'm thrilled to introduce Victoria Connery, Ireland's leading fitness photographer, whose keen eye and unparalleled passion for both fitness and photography have merged to create stunning visual narratives. With innate ability to freeze moments of strength, dedication, and transformation, Victoria's work transcends traditional photography, allowing us to feel the pulse of each heartbeat and the determination in every flexed muscle. Join us as we delve into the artistry and dedication that drive Victoria to beautifully encapsulate the synergy between the human form and the pursuit of health. Enjoy. So how are you doing?
All good, yeah. But we were doing a podcast tonight, but
Yeah. This is actually the perfect and the worst time to record because I'm like sick, but if you can tell by my voice, it's actually like got some ruggedness to it than it usually does. So it's like the perfect time to do that. Thank you for doing this, by the way.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me on.
One question I like to start to break the ice is, what is your, I know it's going to be completely different since you're in the UK, but what is like your go-to like food when you're at house and at the house and you need to make like real food? Like, for example, when I was growing up, like ramen. I don't know if you're familiar with ramen, like those like those really cheap packets. Like we would make those, maybe put some like sriracha or like peanut butter toast, stuff like that. Like what would be like your go-to now, like for like quick dinner at home?
It would probably be a bolognese.
Ooh, okay. That sounds really good. And is that just like regular spaghetti off the shelf?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
For me.
And you can, I mean, the other good thing with that is usually you can't eat ramen, like you can't re-eat ramen, but bolognese, you just usually
can't bolognese, yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. I don't know. I feel like everyone's question to that is so unique because they've grown up in different areas and like different class, like, you know, like people who grew up in nice areas don't usually have that problem sometimes, or maybe their parents were never home.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about more why you're here, doing the background on you, I saw that the main reason you got into photography with the Stumble Upon podcast you're on, I think maybe, I know it got released last week, but the lenses, like on like the iPhone, it's on the iPhones, right?
Yeah. Well, no, actually it wasn't. Back then it was my BlackBerry Z10.
BlackBerry, man. Okay. I thought like by listening to that, I was like, man, she's really young with the lenses. Like I was just like I can't really remember when these came out, but BlackBerry. Okay. So so if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
23.
Okay. No, you are young. Forget about it.
Yeah.
I'm 33. You're 23. Okay. BlackBerry though, so was that like passed down?
No, actually it was the first ever touchscreen BlackBerry.
Man, okay. That's crazy. Because whenever I think BlackBerry, I think like in the States, like BlackBerry was like synonymous with government workers, like after a while.
Yeah. I had one of those too. Like, you know, the ones with the keyboard. Yeah.
But to be fair, those are the perfect for driving. Like with touchscreen, like nowadays it's not as bad, but back in the day, I know that makes me sound super old, but when you wanted to text something, all you had to do is feel the buttons and tap them like 3 times because you knew like the letters and you could feel around. With the touchscreen. You're just hoping and praying. No, but that's awesome. So I guess got you started, or at least started the fire of you picking up a really nice camera.
I wouldn't say it was a really nice camera. So I got a Nikon. I can't even remember the numbers now. It's that long ago. but it was actually a beginner's camera. So we
Okay.
would start off in that camera. But I mean, like it does everything I needed to do. But compared to what I have now, yeah, I don't think I'd be able to use what I first started with.
And so I guess that's what got you into weddings, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was, I guess let's start it off here to get a base. What was your schedule like? Because in the States, obviously, you're doing, it's not just like you go to the event for the wedding. You're obviously doing prep work, you're scouting out like the money shots. Obviously, just like you're doing now with fitness photography, timing is like one of the most important factors, right?
Yeah.
Besides,
So for weddings, essentially, you're there from like the wedding prep, the bride's getting ready, and then you're there until the last dance. Well, three dances in, I always used to
mhm.
do. So you'll be there from like 8 o'clock to the morning to maybe 10 o'clock, half 11 type
Yeah.
thing at night. Depends.
And I mean, now that I think of it, that's like the worst ever because it's kind of like a seesaw. Like if you're doing good and you're like making a lot of money, you have no social life because I would imagine on Saturday you're probably prepping, like you say, and then Sunday you're just probably wiped out half the day.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the week you're probably going through what, like 600, 800 photos to find the best and then doing after effects that week. That's crazy. So what made you make the transition from doing wedding photography and going out there and trying something new?
I think I sort of like hit my ceiling with weddings and newborns. I just always felt walking away from the shoot, I was like never getting enough, even though I got like tons and tons of images. But me personally, I always felt that I wasn't doing good enough in that sort of aspect. So I dived into the fitness space.
Okay. And so now that you're taking pictures of like this sector, do you feel more passion, I guess, taking your photos?
Yeah, I mean, it's because I have full control of what can happen.
Hmm.
Like I can try out new shots if I wanted, new lighting if I wanted. Where a wedding, you're sort of stuck to someone else's time frame.
And would you say, I guess, how long you've been doing this for maybe 2 to 3 years right now? Is that about right?
3 years, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say you have a certain style now?
Yeah, 100%.
So what would be your go-to? Because I know doing that background that you like to obviously loosen up the people with the prosecco you said.
Yeah. Yeah, people come to me for what way my images come out. So I actually don't over edit my images. They're still who they are. So I don't paint abs in someone that doesn't have abs. I don't thin people's waists. If all I really do in my images is if they have a pinch where their sports bra is or whatever, I would bring that in. Define the muscles a little,
Hmm.
smooth the skin if they do want it. But some people still like want their cellulite in or the stretch marks in, where some people don't want any pores at all. So it's really down to what the person wants. But for the
Hmm.
certain style that I use, it's keeping them who they are and what they actually look like.
Okay. And I mean, you must have clients who probably go back and forth for the people who are like, we talked about this a little bit before the interview, but you probably have the most difficult job as a photographer because you're basically showing them like a lot of these people in their shorts or their shorts and their sports bras, and you basically see like the contours of all their muscles. And these people, what they do for a living is fitness. So it's I I make this alliteration and I don't know if it's bad or good, but I don't want to see like if I have a trainer, I don't want to see a trainer like huffing and puffing to kind of like show me the drills. And if I were to see a photo of someone who doesn't look in shape or like being able to show me exercises, I feel like that would be damaging to their like livelihood, right?
Mm.
And do you feel like
Uh,
that's what you're trying to connect to?
uh, yes and no. So obviously people come to me for their journey. So they would go through like a 12 to 16 week program. Some people lose 6 stone, people lose 1 stone. Some people don't lose anything. They just want to do a photo shoot. So for the people that are really die hard fitness freaks, they would come to me for like the 6 packs
Mhm.
and they would be bodybuilders, where I have girls just losing weight and they just want to document it in their journey because they're going to go on to their journey and look back at this photo shoot. I was there, but I'm now here, and then they'll come back to me again so they can compare. So it's all about people's journeys, I think, rather than actually, six packs, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And do you deal with primarily, if you had to put a percentage on it? Wait, I'm going to forget about this. Do you know the conversion between a stone and a pound or a kilogram?
I do not.
It doesn't matter. I'll look it up later. I'll look it up later. Do you feel like what's the percentage of like individuals, like trainers, compared to like what you said, kind of like a period to see transition between a start, like you said, what, a 16-week, or just in general, like a trainer? What is most of your clientele?
I would probably say 50-50. So I do also work with personal trainers and online coaches, but they wouldn't really get like a gym shoot or a studio shoot done. So we would do a lifestyle shoot. So that would show their brand and who they are so they can promote themselves. So it's a total different shoot altogether, where their clients that they've put through the hard work, they would come to me for like the gym shoots or the studio shoot.
Okay. And do you feel like, obviously with like TikTok, Instagram, all this stuff, do you feel like you've picked up a lot of that in the last like couple years, just trying to promote and then slowly like put that like 15 seconds out there just to try to promote your own brand too?
I am on TikTok, but I actually don't use my TikTok for my photography. I have more followers on TikTok than I do on Instagram, but where I get my clients, it's on Instagram. So Instagram is like where I post all my photos. TikTok is literally just an outlet for me to be creative. Used to be a makeup artist, so it's mostly makeup or me being an influencer type thing. So they're totally different.
And do you try
platforms for me.
Do you try to incorporate that into your like your makeup skills into photography, like when you're doing the shoots at all?
Not really.
Not really.
I just sort of keep them separate. The girls already have their makeup done when they come to me, so I don't really like to do that.
Okay, that's pretty nice. So I guess switching from weddings to doing fitness photography, what has your schedule kind of changed to?
Weddings are really seasonal, mostly weekends, some during the week, but not very many. Where now I'm flat out every single day. Not shooting every day, but mostly editing. I have my busy months, like in December, I'd be fully booked. It would probably be one of the busiest times of the year. Probably people want to get in shape for Christmas. Last year I had 35 shoots in December.
Yikes.
Yes. Where January, February, I would be working with coaches mostly, because no one's going to be prepping for a photo shoot in January and February. It's just the way it goes, where I would pick up again probably like March time for like the gym and studio shoots.
Wow, that's crazy. What's the workload during the summer? What's that like? Is that mostly like when all the post stuff is?
To be honest, it's a wee bit of a balance of both. So I would be shooting, but I also would be editing as well. At the minute I am pretty busy, but like next month it's a happy medium where I have a break as well, but I'm also flat out.
So I would just assume that you like this schedule much better than previously with the weddings.
Yeah, I think I enjoy it much better, which makes it better. As I say, like I love my job, so you love your job, but what are, I guess, some of the challenges that you face that I guess you really haven't conquered yet, or you're still working? Obviously, when I'm busy shooting constantly, I have a backlog of editing to do. So
that sounds like podcasting, but you don't have to listen to your voice. Well, you do have a podcast.
I do, yes, but I don't edit it. I get an editor for that.
That's amazing. And we can talk about that a little bit later too.
Yeah, for sure. Where if I'm extremely busy, that editing's in the backlog and that stresses me out. I can't have that where over the weekend there I edited over 100 images just to try and even it out, de-stress, which happened. So
That sounds
dealing with stress is
horrific.
probably the biggest challenge.
Are you a big procrastinator?
No, actually,
Yeah.
I like to be organized. You know, I give the girls about a 2 week notice, of when their images will be back to them. So it's not like I'm rushing them, but once it sort of hits like that week, I'm like, right, this needs done. So.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Obviously, in the last, would you say like 3 or 4 years, like I feel like fitness has on a worldwide scale kind of exploded. How have you seen, I guess, the industry evolve in the last 3 years?
There's definitely more people starting their fitness journey, especially more females.
Mm-hmm.
Females now want to get stronger. They're not afraid to show their muscles, which is great.
Because I've seen some of the photos you take, and they look even stronger than like the men in 300.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even joking. Like if people look at her, what's your Instagram, by the way, so we can plug that right now.
It's Victoria_Connery.
And I'll add that to the episode. But if you look at some of the images, all these people are just gladiator level. So sorry, keep going.
It's also like female coaches. So like probably 4 years ago, there wasn't that many female coaches. Now, don't get me wrong, there was female coaches out there, but like I work with many female coaches now, which is great because of course, fitness is always going to be a male-dominated industry, but there are more females in it now.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, do you? I don't even know why. Why do you think there's been such an insurgent in the last 5 or 10 years?
I think COVID definitely had its impact on the whole fitness space. I think it made people realize, I do need to look after my health. But in general, I think people follow other people. So if someone else has done really good in their fitness journey, someone else is also going to want to do it. So I think that's probably what's happened.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think I read something that was just like if your parents were athletic, or not athletic, but active when you were growing up, the children are 70% more likely to be active as well. So I guess with your 3 years, obviously you've been taking pictures and stuff like that, but how about the business side? Have you picked up anything from that?
In what aspect?
I guess just seeing let's say what your photographs can do, what they can help produce. Like, for example, like, do you have a story of somebody you were taking photos of in the very beginning of your fitness photography career, and then now they're kind of, let's say, Ireland's #1 fitness coach, something like that?
Probably not in that aspect, but I mean, for coaches, content is like key. So we always say your content's a magnet, what you post you attract. Without imagery for your coaching business or anything just like that, you'll not be able to sell yourself. So we always say to sell you. So if you don't have images of yourself, people aren't going to trust you because they don't see you. So in that aspect, I probably had to learn it as well, because I actually didn't promote myself the way I promote myself now. I'm constantly showing up in socials, where when I was doing weddings and newborns, it was like here and there, but like I'm showing up every single day on my socials. So that aspect of business, I had to learn.
By the way, I think you did a photo shoot with some like retro pantsuit, and I was like, that's a really like cool pantsuit. I was like, this is like it was like teal or something like that. And I was like, that's a really cool pantsuit.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my business, like gear.
I think it looks cool. I mean,
Thank you.
I did catch, I don't know if it was from reading online or from the recording you just did. You guys are starting to branch out outside the fitness sector.
Mhm.
Have you guys, what have you guys done besides fitness? Anything like that recently?
Um, we also work with businesses, so we have done food photography. So I don't know whether you've heard of him, but Michael Dean, he's like the top chef here in Northern Ireland. Also Alex Green, we've done stuff for him.
Okay.
Um, we have in our studio downstairs is iBrand, so they basically brand products.
Hmm.
So we've done product photography as well. We do events. So if someone's talking at an event, we would go and take photos or do video. So we've definitely branched out, but we're looking to branch out further.
Okay, that's awesome. And I guess looking down the line, do you see yourself staying with the company to see how they're expanding, or looking back at the end of your career as a photographer, like what do you want to say you've accomplished or gained? Right, that
Um,
might be a little heavy question.
yeah, so it is a wee bit. I mean, I see myself sticking with the team. You're stronger together than you are alone. So we currently have two videographers. Well, I could say three, but the third one's mostly an editor. We have a podcast editor, we have a video editor. Martin is the photographer, and then I'm the female photographer. So definitely stronger together. Totally forgot what you asked me there too.
When you look back at your career, what do you want to say that you've accomplished from where you're at now?
Probably the strength in the business. Like when I first started, I had no idea what to do for myself and my business. Where now, if someone wanted advice on promoting their business, I could give them that, along with obviously how to use their content correctly.
Mhm. Actually, let's talk about your podcast.
Mhm.
So when I last looked at it, I think you're 4 episodes in. So
I think
give me
so.
the rundown. What are you trying to do with the podcast?
Okay, so my podcast is about female entrepreneurs and CEOs. So basically, I would bring a female entrepreneur CEO in, just chat about business and what they've struggled with. It also would help, other people that are inspiring to create a business or struggling in their business. So it's all about that. But I sort of wanted to bring in females because most females are in a male dominated industry. So it's all about that.
Okay. And speaking to that, what would you say for someone in your similar position, I guess, trying to make that transition from doing wedding photos to something more mainstream, like fitness photography or like industrial, or like you said, taking pictures of companies or helping people with their um, social presence?
Know your worth. Do not undersell yourself. There's a lot of startups that would go out for free, which is totally fine when you are starting up, but you also have to remember your worth as well. Lighting is probably important too, to know your lighting. If you don't light your image correctly, to me, it's not going to look right. But maybe, if the creator likes what they're doing, fair enough, but definitely learn
Well, I mean,
lighting.
yeah, isn't that like essential for you, is lighting, just because you've got all those, you've got to show all those muscles, those curves, those tendons. I mean,
Yeah.
without light, then I mean, you might as well just cancel the photo shoot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Last question, the one
Mhm.
that I've prepped you for.
Yeah.
Uh, what is something that your parents did that you'd like to pass on to a next generation? And what is something that you'd want to do differently, or maybe something new?
So me and my dad, if we went to a beach or go on holiday, we would pick up a pebble. So I actually have jars of pebbles from around the world.
That's awesome.
I would like to do that. I mean, I can still do that to this day. So I actually need another jar because I've got that many.
Okay. I was going to ask you how many you have, because I heard a similar story where some guy would bring a stone home from every business trip that he was at, but it was just like the
Oh,
larger this like further away, the larger the stone. And then like when he died, it was just like
No
it was
way.
horrible. Yeah.
No, ours is just the wee tiny pebbles. Couldn't tell you how many pebbles I have, but I've got 2 jars.
I've actually done that too. I've got 2 from Greece and 1 from Zion National Park. So I like
Yeah.
that small.
Yeah. I found like a green stone from Mexico. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that does sound cool.
Yeah. That's funky. What was the last question there?
The
What
last
would I
question
change?
is not necessarily change. You can bring something new into the work that maybe you didn't have.
Probably how to communicate your feelings more.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was taught it, but probably not to the extent that I would need to. But I suppose that develops when you grow older. You can understand how to communicate better, I guess.
Yeah, fills in the gaps. And
Yeah.
I guess eventually when you compare yourself with other people, then you're like, okay, that's what I'm
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And
You're very welcome.
your podcast name, just so everyone can know.
Yeah, it's Chat VCP.
So the funny thing with that is I heard you say it on the last podcast, and it's obviously like I know those are your initials too, but it sounds like Chat GPT, which like an alliteration, right? I would imagine was the thought.
That's where the inspo actually came from. So
Okay.
me and the team were actually sitting down trying to think of a name, and Chris, one of our videographers, he was the one that actually came up with it. It was like, it might be a little bit of controversy, with ChatGPT. So, but I was like, you know what? I love it. Let's go with it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know if you have trash TV like we do over here, where they try to like some reality shows have some really weird names, like what's it called? Crack Addict, where they like basically bend people's backs. Like it's like Pimple Popper, where they get off on.
Yeah, I think we have Pillow Puffer here.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't watch it.
But yeah. No, I totally agree. And your Instagram. I'm sorry, we forgot about that part.
It's Victoria_Connery.
Okay. Anything else you want to plug while we're here?
No, I think I'm all good.
Okay, sounds good. Well, have a good night, and thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
If you like this week's episode of People More Interesting Than Me, please follow me on Apple Podcasts so you won't miss out on more episodes like these.